with Harris, and in this tutorial I am going to be teaching you how to make this really beautiful edible wafer paper flower. And I'm also going to show you how to attach it onto your cake so it'll be nice and secure and it can still stand off the cake a bit as well. So the first thing you're going to need is some edible wafer paper. I really like the Cake Star wafer paper. You can buy any wafer paper or rice paper, it will still work. I'm going to do a pale pink one this morning. So the first thing I'm going to do is I need to cut out some circles out of my edible wafer paper. So I've cut out here 4 small circles. They're about 1.5 inches. These I didn't do with a punch cutter. I actually just drew around a little circle cutter and cut them out. So I did 4 of those, and then I'll move on to the big ones in a moment. So I've just cut my 4 circles and I'm going to show you how to glue them together to get the right shape. So I've got my mix here of water and corn syrup, and I don't need a lot because it is sensitive to moisture, so you just need a little bit on one side of the cut and then turn it in on itself and hold. A couple of seconds, it's all it takes, and it's stuck together. There we go. So I'm going to do my 4th one here. Just a little bit there. And it's worth remembering, the more you fold in on it, the tighter the circle will be. So with your big ones, you want the tighter ones to be more on the middle of the flower and the bigger ones to be on the outside petals. So I've got my 4 there for my centre, and I'll show you how to stick them together. So I'm just going to take one, place it down, and put a little bit of the syrup, or the glue, we'll just call it glue, and then I'm going to place my other one directly opposite and hold down, just like that, just a couple of seconds till that's nice and stuck. Oh, even stuck to my finger. And then I'm going to get my next one and I'm going to place it just on one side. I'll do it so it's facing you. I'm just going to place it there. Now you can leave it at 3 for your centre, but if you want to tuck a 4th one in the back of the other side, which I'll show you in a moment, you can do. So actually 3 looks really nice as a centre, just like that. Or I could tuck my 4th one just underneath that side. But actually for this one, I think the 3 look nice and even. So I'm going to leave that one as a 3, and that one you can see is a 4. It almost looks a bit tighter. So I'll pop that one to the side. Now for my centre, because this is a pink flower, on this white one I've done yellow so it contrasts, but on my pink I'm going to do white. So you just need a really small amount of sugar paste. Cover that back up. Give it a little roll in your hands. And then just check. Okay, so that's probably going to be too big. So I'm going to take about 1/3 off that. And just put it there. Roll again. Put a little bit of my glue mix in the centre. And then I'm just going to just gently press that into the middle. So I've just got a nice shape there. And then I do want to get a bit of an impression line on it. So I can use one of 2 tools. Actually, probably one of 3 tools I can use for this. There's that one. Or I could use, we'll go with these 2. So this is, I call this a shell tool. To be honest, I don't know if that's the correct name for it, but that's what I call it. It's often got a pointy one on the other end, but that looks like a shell to me. So I could use my shell, or I could use my veining tool. So I can mark all the way around. It's actually quite nice if you use your shell tool and just work around just to make a little impression all the way around, like the bud of your flower. Okay, so once you've got that, you can set that aside because that's going to be your centre. Now we're going to move on to the larger petals. So for the larger petals, I could again draw around another size circle cutter, a larger one, but for ease, I am going to use a large circle punch cutter. I just brought this off the internet. This is 2.5 inches and I can get 4 circles out of one piece of edible wafer paper. So I'm going to go first off, make sure I line it up with the side and punch down. And I've got 1, then I'm going to go right next to it. I tend to wait till I've done all 4 before I turn it out. 2, and then I'm going to move my paper around. 3 and 4. So what I will actually do also is I'll save these bits. If I'm making a couple of these flowers, I'll use these bits for my small circles so that I don't waste any of the paper. So that's that to one side, and then I'll just take these out. If they want to come out, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so that is by Woodware Craft Collection. You'll often find them on scrapbooking sites, is a good place to buy them, but I often just Google it and it generally comes up straight away, the puncher that I'm looking for. So I've got 4 here. I actually need 16, but I've gone ahead and already done 12 here. So I'm going to show you again how to do these. It's exactly the same as the middle, as the center for one. So I'm going to cut into the middle with my scissors. And then, just like I did the middle of the center of the flower, I'm going to do the same with these larger circles. So I'm just going to brush on a little bit. And this is the ones now where if you want to have tighter circles in the center, you can pull the fold over more. And the less of a fold you have over, the wider the petal. So you can use those for the outside. So some of these ones, those ones aren't as tight as say those ones. So I've done 4, there are my sets. Some a little wider and some a bit tighter. So now I'm going to show you how to put all of the flower together so you end up with something really effective like this. So I've got my centre bud here and I'm just going to pop that to one side and get on with the main petals of the flower. So you need to remember that the ones that have had the largest fold over are going to be your centre ones, so then it'll flare out into a larger flower. So I've got 2, just move these to the side. I've got 2 here, and just the same as before, you're going to put a little bit on, and you're going to place your other one on and press down. It really does stick fast, so that's why these are so quick to make. But I do once I've got the whole flower arranged, I leave it for a little while just so I've got security that it's totally set. And then my next one, I'm going to take, and I'm actually going to put a bit of glue on that bit there, and I'm going to pop that to the side and stick it down. And then it is a case of working around with all of your petals. So I'm going to carry on and get all of these petals on, and then we can show you how to attach it to the cake. So I'm just popping on my last petal there. When you get to your furthest most outer petals, it can get a little bit trickier to stick them on just because there's less of the centre base that you're sticking them to. So I will hold them for a couple more seconds. Now we're just going to fix our centre into the middle of our flower. So just like we've done before, I'm just going to put a little bit in there, and then I'm going to pop my centre bud just into the middle. I'm just going to gently press down, and if I need to, I can always go over my lines. If I've pressed down a bit too much and the sugar's still a bit soft, I can always just press on those lines again with that little shell cutter. So that is your edible wafer paper flower. It's really fast and really effective, and I think probably the quickest way to make a really nice flower for the top of your cake. So I'm going to let this totally dry and set for about 30 minutes, and then I will show you how to attach it onto your cake. So now I'm going to show you how to apply your edible wafer paper flour to your cake. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to get a little bit of sugar paste. I'm going to give it a little roll and a knead, make sure it's nice and pliable. Okay, and then I'm just going to, with the same glue mixture that I used when I was sticking my flowers together, I'm just going to apply a bit to the edge of the cake. And then I'm just going to get my little piece of sugar paste and I'm just going to stick that on there. Now I'm going to make an indent into it on the angle that I want the flour to sit. So for this flour, I want it to face outwards, similar to this one. If I wanted it to face upwards, I would push down. And if I wanted it, if you imagine this was the middle tier of a wedding cake and you had one of these big flowers in the middle, I would then push flat against the cake so that the flour would be secure on the front. But for this one, I'm going to have it coming out at an angle. So I've got my sugar paste stuck on there. I'm going to put a little bit more glue on there. And then I'm just going to take my flour and pop it on. Give it a little press on. You can always, if that's a bit soft still in the middle, you can always again just give it a few more lines. And there you have it. That is your edible wafer paper flour tutorial. I really hope you enjoyed it.